The Denver Nuggets lost in double overtime to the New York Knicks last night, but it unfortunately was not the biggest thing that was lost at Madison Square Garden. How concerning is Peyton Watson's injury to his hamstring, and what direction are the Colorado Avalanche trending ahead of this Olympic break that is now on the horizon? All things to come on today's rundown. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to our Denver Sports 1043 The Fan YouTube channel. You can find us at Denver Sports 1043 on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also watch us live on X or on Facebook, but wherever you watch, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you never miss a moment with us. I want to get into last night's game for the Denver Nuggets. They hung tough and they fought hard, and we got some encouraging performances from some players who have frankly needed one, but there were some big time losses too. So as positive as it was to see Christian Braun, who has struggled since coming back from his own injury battles early in the season, make some key free throws down the stretch, get a key stop defensively to help force an overtime period late in the game. To see Spencer Jones leave with a head injury and then Peyton Watson leave in the fourth quarter with a hamstring injury that there is reasonable fear or speculation could involve an extended absence being missed is tough. Because I got to be honest with you, it feels like the Denver Nuggets are probably the most snake-bitten NBA contender league-wide right now. For the momentum and the hype that this team had going into the offseason after taking the eventual NBA champs with the MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to 7 games with a MASH unit of a playoff lineup, to have all of the wheeling and dealing from Ben Tenzer and Jonathan Wallace, bringing back Bruce Brown, trading MPJ for Cam Johnson, signing Jonas Valanciunas, signing Tim Hardaway Jr., and then seeing what the team looked like and was capable of at full strength and full health, it felt like this was a team that was destined for an NBA Finals appearance. And they still can get there, but man, the path thus far has been brutal. They feel snake-bitten, from Cam Johnson's slow start to eventual injuries, to Aaron Gordon's nagging hamstring injuries, which are coming and becoming more and more commonplace, it feels like. Nikola Jokic going down for an extended period of time and then a slightly longer extension after that with his hyperextended knee. Peyton Watson now dealing with injuries. Spencer Jones playing well just like Peyton Watson, and on the final day of his two-way contract before a conversion, exits with a head injury, with the Nuggets now facing a decision on what to do with him in a more permanent sense on the roster. That doesn't even mention Christian Braun. The Nuggets having to play an entire game without not only all 5 starters, but 2 key contributors on the bench as well, and Tim Hardaway and Jonas Valanciunas missing that game against the 76ers. The Nuggets have performed admirably in the face of all of these injuries. But again, it just feels like there's a snake-bitten element to this team. And for David Adelman in his first full year as head coach with a team that's centered around a 3-time MVP and the expectation to return to and potentially bring home another Larry O'Brien trophy, the path seems like it can't have been much harder. And I think there's been a lot of encouragement and positive signs to come from the battling through all of these injuries and the way that these players on the back end of the rotation are getting more opportunity to shine in more minutes. Certainly Peyton Watson and Spencer Jones, major beneficiaries in that regard. But this is a team that needs an all-star break like nobody's business. And I just hope that this team can find a way to keep the pieces held together enough down the backstretch of this season, with the postseason drawing closer and closer to the horizon, to be able to put themselves in a position where they're going into a first-round playoff matchup, regardless of the seeding, feeling confident and comfortable that they've got 8, 9 guys that are ready to make a 20-plus game run at another championship. It is time to hit the turn, presented by The Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier outdoor golf bar and entertainment venue. With their miniature golf setup and heated patio, they have the perfect cure for your winter blues. We shift gears to the other team that calls Ball Arena home, the Colorado Avalanche, who got an announcement about one of their players that doesn't necessarily benefit them, but definitely is a sign of progression for their captain, Gabe Landeskog, who was given the green light to play in the Olympics for Team Sweden, despite not having played hockey for the Avalanche since January 4th, when he had that scary collision against the Florida Panthers where he ran into the goalpost and then into the boards. He avoided a re-injury to the knee and the leg that has caused him to miss several years consecutively of hockey since the Avs won the title before he came back in last year's postseason. So he avoided a re-injury of a worst-case scenario, but he dealt with rib issues and other lower body ailments, and he hasn't played hockey, hasn't skated officially for the Avs since January 4th, so going on almost exactly a month at this point. That being said, he has been given the green light, per Pierre LeBrun and others, to play for his country in the Olympics. And that's created a little bit of an interesting debate and dynamic. So I guess I'll turn it out there to you in the audience listening. How do you feel about the notion? And this is not uncommon in hockey, and I suppose in other sports when the Olympics are involved, because playing for your team and playing for your country exist on two different planes for a lot of people, especially with the every 4 years nature of the Olympics. But just like I kind of said as it relates to the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Avalanche feel to me in a slightly similar boat, not because of the injuries. They've dealt with their fair share. But just like the Nuggets, the Colorado Avalanche have significant title hopes and aspirations. And it just feels like, unfair or not, watching what the Nuggets are going through from an injury perspective for a team that has so much runway in front of them and the capability when at full strength and full health to beat any team that they go up against in a 7-game series. Gabe Landeskog coming back this season, then getting hurt again, and now in his first action back playing for Team Sweden in the Olympics does have me a little bit nervous, because I just know how difficult it is to climb that mountain and how difficult and the adversity that this Avalanche team has experienced in every single season under Jared Bednar, despite the year that they won the Cup, which was the first or second round exit. We didn't expect them to get bounced in the first round against the Dallas Stars, despite the fact that the seeding matchup even allowed that to happen in the first place, and it's ridiculous. I don't want to be the guy that says that a player shouldn't be excited about, push for, prioritize, or whatever, playing for your country in an Olympic setting. I mean, hell, how cool is the Four Nations face-off? And that's not even an Olympic type of situation. But man, it does make me feel like I'm going to be sitting on pins and needles a little bit for that 3 to 7 game period where, in theory, a guy coming back in Gabe Landeskog for the first real hockey action in over a month is going to be putting his body on the line. And it's not for the Colorado Avalanche, who have absolute Stanley Cup final and title hopes in front of them. The momentum that they secured to start the season on an absolute franchise historic run has cooled a little bit, and the power play issues and the struggles, that the team is experiencing when other teams slow them down and kind of muck things up a little bit more are starting to resurface. And I think that the Avs in general will benefit from this Olympic break, but I am going to be more nervous potentially this year than in years past about the injury factor and the heated tension and emotion that goes into these, especially Olympic hockey series, because of the pride and the nationalism that these players take out of their sport and into the Olympic stage. I don't know. I don't want to say I don't like it, because I understand it, and I don't want to be that guy. But man, I would feel a lot better if Gabe Landeskog was going to be playing for Team Sweden and for his country, if it wasn't going to be his first action back in over a month, since he had a pretty scary collision for the Avs, and he hasn't seen the ice for Colorado since that point. Regardless, we are going to have to monitor all of it. The Denver Broncos are continuing their push toward the offseason. We have the Super Bowl coming up in just about 72 hours or so to decide this year's champion. And I wonder if the New England Patriots are able to beat the Seattle Seahawks, what that fallout perceptually might be here in Broncos country, in the Mile High City, around the AFC, with a lot of teams, maybe not just Denver, going, man, we had it right in front of us. Seattle's obviously the favorite right now, but crazier things have happened, as evidenced by the last couple of times these two teams have played in the Super Bowl. And I think it's going to be fascinating to watch, because there's no doubt I, like you probably, are going to be sitting like many here in the Mile High City watching the Patriots play the Seahawks and going, you know what? That could have been us. It should have been us. But unfortunately, it isn't, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on this upcoming offseason heading into Bo Nix's third junior season now in the NFL. Thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to our Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan YouTube channel, and we will catch you tomorrow at noon for the next rundown.